guys, I just today got this in the mail. This is from Stratos Performance in the UK. The box is a little worse for wear, but it's traveled several thousand miles, so it seems to be intact inside. Well, without further ado, let's see what's in the box. This is a filter for my interceptor, and I chose this for a couple of reasons. Been looking at DNA. I've always bought DNAs in the past, so it's got a piece of paper in there. Bubble wrap. Let's see what's in there. Okay, this is the inlet mouth. This is the part that was most interesting to me. Wow, it's quite rugged. Comes with mounting screws, stainless steel. And as you can see, it's quite substantial. It's actually a lot larger than I imagined it was going to be. So the radius, you can see, is quite large. In my research before, working with some folks on the MT07 forums, we found that ideally the 3/8 radius is ideal for this kind of application to an airbox. This seems to be a little bit larger, but I'm sure it's not critical. And the small differences it would make, you would never know. This is quite nice. It's hollowed out on the back, so it's a little bit light. It weighs a few ounces. I don't know. I don't have a scale, but it's very light. Nice to know that they hollowed out the back. Nicely machined. It's got these striations on it, which are not functional. They don't increase the performance or anything. It's a design feature. I was told by principal in the company that those are merely a device for making the milling more efficient. It's easier to mill them out that way. I don't know why that would be true, but that's what he said. So this is what we got. Very nice. Then this also comes in an anodized black. I just got the clear finish aluminum. I don't know if it's coated or not, but anyway, very nice. Nice piece of kit. Now the meat and potatoes of this is this filter. Let's see, is it pre-oiled? It kind of smells oily. Appears to be pre-oiled. Okay, nice color, deep, rich burgundy, with a Stratos Performance logo emblazoned on it. I don't know if you can see that on there. On the back side, made in Britain. Okay, very nice. Now, I haven't measured this. We're going to compare this orifice and opening to the stock filter. I'll do that in the rest of the video, but right now we're just doing the unboxing. This is purportedly larger than the standard and also larger than any of the competition, although I can't verify that. But we'll compare it to the stock filter and see what that looks like. So that looks very nice, comes pre-oiled. I'm sure it's very similar to a DNA or a K&N. Very small differences in the filters. Actually, when you're talking about these free flow filters, they all perform about the same. In my mind, this is the coup de grace. This is the part that actually can help eke out a few more bits of efficiency. This kind of covers what I was going to make myself if I was going to buy a DNA filter, which was my original plan. But okay, so without further ado, let's go down. We'll take the other one out and we'll compare this and install it and compare it to the stock filter. Okay, let's take a look at the original installation. This is the old stock filter. It's been on there since the bike was new. It's got about 4,000, almost 5,000 kilometers on it. It's dirty, it's wrinkled, and I'm going to replace it. So it's time to go to high performance. You can see I already had taken off the cap, which is basically a sound abatement cap to comply with Euro 4 regulations. It also restricts the air. So I've taken that off and left the stock filter on and just cobbled up fastening devices with some washers and some grommets, which was good enough until I could get a replacement filter. So Stratos Performance has got
some very good engineering. They've gone one step further than most of the other filters. They've got a stage 2 cover. That venturi cover that they have is very well thought out, and it was something that I was going to do before I became aware of Stratos and this solution. I was going to buy a DNA filter and make my own venturi cap almost identical to that, because we did some research, as I mentioned, with the MTO7 groups, and we determined that that was very beneficial. So there's the old filter, quite dirty. Doesn't look bad on the outside, but it's pretty black on the inside. And there's no cleaning those. So the Stratos Performance filter was something that I decided to go for. And here it is next to the stock filter, and you can see it has a quite large inlet area compared to the stock filter, supposedly 57% larger. Other than that, it's the same length. It's got a larger filter area as well. Surface area is supposed to be quite a bit larger. There's no way to measure that by looking at it, but you can see, since it's a larger diameter, it probably has more surface area. But the 3-layer cotton flock filter material is the secret, and it's the pretty much the standard for most of the high performance filters. K&N is the least performance, DNA is very high, and Stratos is the new kid on the block, but let's give them a try and see how it goes. It slides right in with no problem, and clamp is next. Put that on. But Stratos has done their homework. Luke is a very knowledgeable guy, worked for several other companies before he came to work for himself, and I think he has some other fellows working with him. He's done his homework, and having designed for Royal Enfield and various other engine manufacturers, he is well versed in engine technology. He plans also to bring out a few other kinds of performance products in the near future. So now we're going to take a listen. Let's start it up and see if we can hear a difference. I don't think we're going to hear a difference because I've got a Tech 2-in-1 pretty loud exhaust. As you can hear, there was quite a bit of popping. You may have been able to hear that in the background, and that's due to the fact that I just started a bike and revved it. The popping was backfiring, which indicates there was a major change in the air-fuel ratio due to putting this new filter on. So that's a good sign. I'll just have to run the relearning or self-learning regimen later so that that will have a chance to adjust. And we'll do that by just letting it run for 10 minutes or so, and then letting it readjust. Okay, fellows, I'm back from a test ride on my Interceptor with the new filter from Stratos Performance, and I'm going to give you my feedback. Now, anytime you buy something new and you think it's going to make your bike faster, you're likely to, or inclined to think, wow, it really does make my bike faster. But this is basically a seat of the pants impression. It's not scientific, and sometimes we're led to believe, our own minds will lead us to believe that we have improved performance when we really don't. But I'm old enough and I've had enough experience that I hope that I can say that I could be a little bit objective. and try to filter out some of that bias based on buying something and thinking it's going to improve the performance. So hopefully I can give you some information that's not too out of line. But again, take it with a grain of salt. It's my impressions from writing. It's not dyno results, which will give you numbers. This is basic impression. So my impression is this. As you observed when I started the bike in the earlier part of the video, you could hear a popping on deceleration when I let off the throttle. And that indicated that there was a rather significant change in the air intake. The fuel mixture was obviously different because we're getting that lean condition, that backfiring. I turned the bike off, let it sit for a while, then I turned it on and let it idle for about 10-13 minutes so that it would do its initialization. And all that does really, it doesn't really relearn at that point. It's just initializing your ECU to the default state. And then when you ride the bike next time, it will gradually adapt to the new fueling. And it's just a little quicker process than just keep riding, which eventually will result in the same thing, but it just takes longer. So I did that, hopped on the bike, and I went for a short ride for, half an hour or so. The bike was warmed up. And I have to say, I'm very well pleased. I can actually feel a difference in mid-range torque, and that translates to a little bit quicker acceleration. The other thing I noticed that it responds more quickly at initial throttle twist. So in other words, if I'm in any gear, say first, second, or third, maybe fourth, and you're kind of at low RPMs and you crack the throttle, it'll not hesitate like it used to hesitate. And it tends to pick up a little more quickly on the bottom end, and then pulls really strong in mid to high RPM range. Now, take that again with a grain of salt, because these differences could possibly be due to having an old dirty paper filter switched out for a brand new clean high performance filter. So there could be just a difference in clean and dirty filter. So that could be a part of it, I'll admit that. But I was surprised. I really didn't think I would feel much difference from an air cleaner swap with that induction piece on the front to make it what I would call a stage 2, that little orifice that gives it a laminar flow. Now, it's very important to get laminar flow into your air box, and that is a factor. So that little aluminum mouthpiece is actually doing something significant. Now, this doesn't necessarily add up into some performance that you can feel, but when you combine that with your aftermarket exhaust and any other kinds of tuning things that you do, especially if you do a piggyback ECU or a booster plug or something like that, these things will all have kind of a synergistic effect and will give you a really fine running bike. So this is just one part, but I did actually think I felt a little bit of a performance boost. I'm well pleased with it. Even if I didn't get a performance boost, I feel comfortable knowing that I have a high performance replacement filter, one that I don't have to replace. I could just wash and put back in. And I'm getting the best amount of air into my air box through a normally aspirated air box that I can. So that to me is important, even if I don't feel an increase in performance. So that's about it. I'm pleased with the product. It's a very high quality product. I don't think anybody could go wrong buying one of these. And if you're the kind of guy who wants that little bit of extra edge, even though it might be theoretical, this is the air filter to get. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.